And we're a couple of Jesus fans here. My name is Ethan Moore, and that's Pastor Dwayne Black over there.
How you doing?
Yeah. How are you, Pastor?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. And we're still here with my mom.
Yep. Hello.
So nice.
Sharon is her given name.
Yes.
How you doing there, Sharon? I don't know. It's weird. I'm just going to call you Mom.
I'm doing great.
Name.
These are my first experiences on a podcast. It's fun.
Are you liking it?
I love it.
Yeah?
It's a lot of fun.
It's podcasting is good. I feel like it gives you a chance to you have your own voice, you know?
Absolutely. Little therapy session.
It's hard to have. It is. Well, with Pastor Dwayne over there, he's always, ministering to me. I think that's what he's doing. I just wanted to tell jokes, but he always gets me to talk about my personal life. The ladies,
Well, where do you get your material if not from there? Come on now.
I thought I got it from you. My mom is very funny.
She really is, and she's also very bright. You can tell.
He's giving you. My mom just winked. I think she winked at you.
Well, I do. I do have bright children.
There?
What can I say?
Well, yeah.
They're beautiful and they're bright. All of them.
Not bad at all.
That's right. I don't know.
Okay.
I have nothing. I can't deny it. So Mom, you said that in the last episode, we were talking a little bit about gossip, and you said that you had listened to our gossip episode.
Yes.
And you had some things to pull out, and so we kind of covered some of that. But you also had a couple of other things that you wanted to discuss, didn't you?
Well, I'm trying to.
You're looking at me right now, like what?
Well, I'm just trying to get
something
to roll into the front of my mind. No, I guess I was thinking a little bit about how, just how people sometimes don't get humor. When we use it, they just don't get it. And
you said that Emily didn't get my humor.
Well, it seemed like it seemed like I could hear that a little bit with her. I think and she hasn't known you for a real long period of time, so maybe that's part of it. But
my mom and I were talking about this last night over dinner, Pastor, and she said that when you listen to that episode, what's really funny is that it's me and Emily are exchanging words, and you're sitting there laughing the entire podcast.
It was. It was funny. It was just great to watch you guys.
Yeah. Dwayne laughed an awful lot during those. Yes, I did notice that. And also, it's like I can, in the tone of voice, it's like I can picture facial expressions, or it seems I can.
It was. They were going back and forth, and it was just really. It was like one of those things you just want to sit back and watch the car accident. No, I mean,
right. Well, Emily, I love Emily so much, but I felt like on the podcast, when you just talk to her, she can be very real. Yeah. But I felt like on the podcast, she was struggling to kind of come all the way through. You know what I mean? She was nervous about talking about this topic or that topic.
Are you baiting her?
Yeah, Emily, honey, I know you're listening. And this is my way of inviting you to come back on the podcast. Man,
she's going to come back just with everything going.
No, I think
even scary.
I don't think she would think that was wrong. I think that she would agree if we really nailed her down to it, because I think she did. Like we would take off our headphones, and then she'd be like, Ethan, I can't believe you, and she was sort of waiting to say something the whole time, and I'm like, well, just say it. Right. Because that's what this is. It's just, you just got to be real, I think. And you're going to end up with a better, something that people are going to connect with. All of our many listeners. Our tens of listeners. We have tens of listeners. Mom, I don't know if I told you that earlier. I mean, I don't want to brag. But, some podcasts, they talk about quantity.
Yes.
On this podcast, we go for a quality. Yes.
There you go.
That's right.
There you go.
We want people to really listen and think about this thing, and then come back to us and say, I disagree with you, and this is why, and it's good.
We want to be able to fit all of the people that listen in the lobby of a Quality Inn. That's what I mean by quality. Because it can't be more than like 30 or 40 people. Ever. Total.
You might be surprised.
Yeah, no, well, it is a popular, we talk about things that could theoretically be popular. I don't know what that means. Pastor wants to talk about like the politics and stuff like that.
Well, I always have it, but you see, when we were off air, your mom and I were talking about the idea of what's going on with this. There seems to be such a violent, thing going on with politics right now that you just see people
you mean like
angry.
The Trump stuff?
Well, exactly. Like the last night that they got canceled to a point. So you have people, and she was bringing up some of the social kind of things that were going on.
Well, I think it's indicative of collective consciousness. Yeah. Sometimes is that when we allow ourselves to be drawn in by, or we have perceptions of things we're hearing in media or seeing in media, sometimes we don't pause and stop and think, is this even true?
Right.
Is this real? Or is this just hype?
Right.
And people can get really caught up in hype, I think, sometimes, and with one another. But
rarely are we taught to question anymore. It's just accept and go on. Accept, react, and go on.
Right. Which is a really low vibration. It just definitely is. And of course, violence is operating from your lower brain.
Right.
And if you stay in that stressful fight or flight thing, then all you do is react.
Right, exactly.
You just are reacting, which is in general not helpful.
I guess I think, I don't know, what makes me think about, I like history, and I like trying to study history. And when I think about when things become violent. I feel like, civilization is always been about kind of suppressing a certain amount of violence, and sort of coming to saying that even though, I could hit you over the head and take your wallet or whatever, on the whole, I'm going to agree not to do that. It still happens here and there.
Right.
But overall, we're kind of making an agreement that we're not going to do that kind of thing. And, and it people seem to, and it feels like that's just the way things are now, and that's the way the human society is now. But what it strikes me to think about is just in a way how fragile the veneer of civilization over just the raw animalistic violence that you can find in human nature is sometimes, and I think you always see it come out when there's some kind of when the government, whatever the government is, starts to lose its control, it's control by hegemony, by sort of the agreement of the governed. And instead, you have situations where the government has to reach out and use actual violent repression. And what's happening right now is that the government isn't doing that. You're seeing that from certain political movements, which in some ways is even scarier, because when you see it coming up from certain political movements and then it's being tolerated to some extent by the government, because Donald Trump could be a part of the government soon. That just makes me think right away about, like Germany in the 1930s and stuff like that, because it's really scary. Like, of course, the National Socialists over there, more popularly known as the Nazis, they, they were street gangs and stuff like that. They were thugs basically in the streets, and they were just like intimidate their political opponents. That was what they did, and they held big rallies and stuff like that. And at
those rallies, they had other people come and protest so they could say, look at what these kind of people are doing. Look, they're not allowing us to speak.
Right. So there's a lot of theater involved there, a lot of political theater, and there's violence involved in it. So it's, when you see that stuff happen, you're like, wow, that's a little scary. You start to wonder about, our Americans. And it makes me think, like, wow, like, are we in a situation that's as bad as like the Weimar Republic? It's not like we lost a war and we have some kind of terrible Treaty of Versailles situation here. Right. We're actually, America's in a great position in the world still, and so that kind of is the only thing where I'm like, well, this isn't most people can't feel this way. Like that idea of make America great again. I'm like, America is already great.
It is great.
What are people so unhappy with? I'm not happy with the income inequality. I'm not happy with the fact that we can't compete in certain areas against the global economy. There's certain things that seem like they're problems, but I don't feel like the problems are so insurmountable that we need to be resorting to, like electing a strong man. You know what I mean? To like revenge us on the world or something. What I mean? Like, what is like? So I'm like, I won't go that far.
No, and
that's why I don't know.
I keep running into people that are in need that that don't have health insurance.
By the way, I like Trump. I am voting for him. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
No,
let's have a word of prayer.
Well, that's right. Exactly.
Well, Emily is voting for him. You know, she as much as admitted it on the podcast last week.
I know that was scary too. That was. But she
Does
said
that
she
scare
was
you?
there. Well,
You were kind of, by the way, Pastor. You didn't really. You have strongly held political opinions, and you didn't.
I don't think
you didn't
so.
rise to. You didn't say anything about that.
Well, I tried.
I was expecting the sparks to fly between you and her, because I'm not really a hard, dyed-in-the-wool, liberal or conservative. I'm just like to make jokes. I mean, I have I have political opinions, and I try to stay informed. But
it's non-discriminatory when it comes to whom he will make jokes
equal
about.
opportunity offender. That's right. That's right. But yeah, I was like, and I was trying to gin it up between the two of you. Like, so pastor says this. What do you think? So Emily said she's going to vote for Trump. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but
Dwayne?
I think she was conflicted. I think she really was having issues with that, and I think that she was trying to be honest with saying, I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for. I'm really not sure. And I thought that was good. I thought that, for her to be that honest about that she's struggling with this thing,
right.
That's a good
I actually think that she's already clearly made. I mean, what I read between the lines and heard, I've already made up my mind of voting for Trump. Not to put words in her mouth, literally, which is what I just did. But
You did.
Emily, I invite you to come back on the podcast.
I am telling you right now,
disavow your
podcast.
endorsement of
she
Trump.
May not bring chocolate next time.
She did bring chocolate last time.
She is yelling right now.
Emily, baby, you bring chocolate and all's forgiven. I love that chocolate. But I'm not a conservative or a liberal on. I'm probably more on the liberal side a little bit, but I'm not a Republican or a Democrat like that. At least. I don't consider myself to be like I think I'm in one of the parties, but I don't, you know what I mean? I don't identify that way.
Well, part of that could be because you're a Jesus fan.
Yeah.
Well,
and we know what a radical he was.
Well, that's what I said last week. I said, I want
and we know what happened to him.
I said, I want to join with the Jesus guys. I think there should be a party for people who want to live their lives on a spiritual plane.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are waking up to those things, to those concepts. That's one of the reasons why I don't immerse myself in all the political stuff in the news, because it's really not healthy.
No, it's not.
And there's so much more going on, and there are so many people that we need to serve.
Right.
And, I just think that focus is so much more important because life's very fragile.
Yes, it is.
And that's...
So it's more about the personal than the political.
In my opinion, at this point in my life, for me, it is.
I agree, because that's where the rubber meets the road, right? That's where we actually live our lives, is in the day-to-day, the encounters that we have with different people.
But there's a side also that when you continue to create such a gap between the 1% and the rest of 99%, that just health and just so many things. Mm-hmm. And when I sit at a hospice and I hear that hospice has been cut so that their budgets, and they go, you're going to die, we're going to come back and see you in about 3 months. You just have to start saying this. In this country, it shouldn't be like that.
I agree.
Why only in this country? What's so special
we're
about
a very wealthy country, and
there is enough wealth in this country to care for everyone.
Well, there will be once we make America great again.
That's right.
What about now?
And I love it. The Pope was even, he's like, we don't build walls, we build bridges.
And that's correct. Yeah.
And man, that was great to hear him
Isn't
say.
It like a Simon and Garfunkel album or something?
I think it was. Yes.
Something like that.
See, the bridge over troubled water, right there. That's it, man. You were there.
That's right. 59th Street Bridge song, feeling groovy.
Yeah, that's right. Well. I don't know. I think bridges are probably better. It's certainly more civilized to have bridges.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, like we were talking about in the last episode, just very briefly about our connection to one another, because I am you and you are me.
Right.
So if you're diminished, I am.
Right. Well, that brings us back around to what we were talking about earlier with like political violence and the sense that, like I was saying, I think, this social contract that we all are agreeing on, to be friendly to one another,
right,
and not to take each other's wallets just because I have bigger muscles than you, or whatever you want to look at it, right? You have that. It's sort of a choice at some level, right? We can choose to continue to believe in a version of society where it's possible to have plenty, have abundance, and have connections between people, or we can choose to go in kind of a more primitive direction and say it's might makes right, and it's the strongest is going to survive. And you've got both of those as very powerful narratives.
Right.
And I think sometimes people are actually faced with the choice of which one to select.
And for some reason, I think that we've hijacked the whole idea of what Jesus has said and taught. We've been hijacked and to a point of believing that it's still about us and them. It's about division. Right. It's about exclusion and not inclusion, and that is massively turning inwardly the story of what Christ taught.
Oh, I completely agree with that. I mean, one of my favorite quotes that Mother Teresa said was that every day I see Jesus in all of his distressing disguises. And that is her way, of course, of saying in everyone, in all people.
Right.
And that's always easy to take when it's like, the people I like.
Right, exactly.
I'm really cool with that.
Yeah.
But no, she means everyone. And I've always thought that was very,
Beautiful
very powerful to think
really is,
to think on.
She sounds like some kind of liberal or something.
Oh, she really was. She was. You talk about non-discriminatory. It's amazing.
Yeah. Right. So it's a question of I think of actually choosing. Like which narrative do we want to embrace?
Right.
And where will that narrative lead us?
Yeah. But we still come to that challenge where people will say, and I think this is, and once again, let me speak for Emily, which is I choose to, when I meet someone and I have an encounter with them, to, encounter them as Christ-like a manner as I can. Mm-hmm. But when I cast my ballot, I want to vote for someone who's going to protect what's mine.
Yeah, there does seem to be a disconnect, doesn't there?
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to be honest, I'm not smart enough to know for sure which one is right. I have an intuition about it. I feel like, okay, we should be more inclusive and all this stuff. And I usually vote on the more liberal side of things, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know the answer. Politics is so complicated.
And it should be noted that the very freedoms that this country has, and that we supposedly all hold dear, is because she and anyone else has that right to believe however they really feel in their heart, and to vote how they feel that they should in their heart, and that should be respected. Because if we don't respect it, then we are going down a slope we don't want to go down.
Right.
So it does need to be honored in that way, which is a little more civil way of looking at it when we disagree with people and their politics.
And I'll tell you what, maybe what we can all agree on, maybe this is a nice way of wrapping this up, is that, one of the things that is really great about America is the fact that we can have this discussion, and that we are,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? At the level of the podcast, or at the level of personal. Mm-hmm. And Americans do talk about politics a lot, And I said, as someone who's lived overseas for 6 years, and in Asian countries, so there's a little bit different kind of feeling when you're in an authoritarian country like Vietnam, or a sort of pseudo, democracy like Singapore, where there's some authoritarian elements. So, and it's you're talking about politics can cause you don't have total free speech.
Right.
So
No,
I think it's great. Like, we can all say, people of good will can disagree with one another. We can have a deep discussion about it. Maybe I end up hating you, but no one's going to sort of get in trouble with the authorities for having the discussion.
And part of it is we will get better at listening to each other.
Yeah.
And
and
that's the idea that I may not agree with you, but I don't dislike you, I don't hate you, I still honor you as a child of God.
And it won't lead to violence.
Right, yeah.
For sure.
And that's a good thing. And let's go vote together,
Exactly.
Cancel each other's vote out.
And that's fine. Let's do it.
And I do have a thing about if you didn't vote, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Well,
now, if you voted, and you don't even have to tell me how you voted.
Yeah.
Fine, we can have a discussion.
Right.
But if you don't participate,
well, I will. So just since you brought it up, Mom, I will tell you. So, okay. So I feel now compelled to speak for the millennials because I am like the oldest millennial you'll ever find. Right? Yeah. It's true. Like I was born in '81, which is basically the earliest year you could be born and still be a millennial. Yeah. And I'm at the top of that generation.
So are you speaking for them?
Speak for Emily. Speak for millennials. Anyone else? If you want me to endorse your product, just hit me up on Instagram. Ethan is not funny, and we'll talk. Money will change hands. I'll tell you that. No. I think that a lot of millennials feel disillusioned with the process of voting, and I'll tell you why. Because we feel like the two-party system, especially, is nonsense. It's like. And the electoral college, and all it's like all these. You look at all these sort of bureaucratic systems.
I'm with you on a lot of that.
And mainly, what comes down to being frustrating is things like the fact that, in order to vote in a primary, in most of the states, you have to be registered in one of the parties.
Right. You have to
and you may not want to be registered in one of the parties.
Right.
You may not want to. Like it feels like you're already buying into a system that you don't believe in when you have to go and register as a Republican or a Democrat. And most of the people my age, or let's say my age to 10 or 15 years younger,
do you think that's one reason
have a hard time with being a
Bernie
Republican
Sanders
or Democrat?
has quite a following among millennials?
It's the same reason why
Millennials
Bernie Sanders has a following, and even Trump, I think, to some extent, maybe has a following, because he's outside the
boxes,
the mold of traditional Republican, and Bernie Sanders is way outside the mold of traditional Democrat. So, it feels like you can actually vote for something that is going to change things and make a difference and maybe split us away from that. But like imagine that, like you got to go register for vote, and it's like, you have to choose a party in order to vote in the primary, and then of course the primary system is controlled by either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party,
right?
And then they still have power to make decisions against the will of the people at the convention. Sometimes
they do have the
power and it's like, well, where did this come in? It's not in the Constitution. It doesn't have anything to do.
So it makes you feel like it's a waste sometimes to even participate.
It's like I'm buying into the system where I don't believe in either of these parties, and I have to choose one of them in order to participate. Or everyone says, "Oh, you didn't even vote." Well, you don't even have to. So like just responding to what you said there.
Well said.
And so I feel like my hope, as once again speaking for millennials, my hope as a millennial, as the oldest millennial I'll ever meet, is that one day
get you a T-shirt.
We can. Yes, that's right. I like that. Is that one day we can crack through that system?
Yeah, absolutely.
And splinter the parties, because I don't like the political factions. Or eliminate them. What about that?
Yeah. Well, if a generation
eliminate political parties.
If a generation could go through the process to make that happen, I think yours would be it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. The number one thing I love about Trump, okay,
the hair. It's the
hair.
I know it.
No,
it's the hair.
I knew it.
It's the success. That's the no. What I love about Trump is the fact that he is the symbol of the destruction of one of the political parties. You get to, and it's just totally true. The Republican Party is like bleeding like a stuck pig, and the Democratic Party is severely wounded too. I mean, you've got this thing between Bernie and Hillary. I mean, it's great, I mean, it's like great to watch these two old,
be
parties
rattled. Be rattled.
That we don't believe in. You have to deal with the fact that people don't believe in them in a serious way this year for the first time in who knows how long.
Yeah, but Bernie, I'm really impressed with. This guy he is attracting a younger group of people that are looking for some change, and he's going, we can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. It's exciting. Yeah. It's thrilling.
It's very exciting.
And that someone of his generation is being acknowledged.
Well, and again, that makes me, when people start saying, he's too old, look, and you're going like, whoa. That's not, it's like, we want the pretty ones,
Right.
Give me the pretty ones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The last time people were this excited, people voted for Ralph Nader. Remember that? work out so well.
Really
remember the Ross Perot?
Yeah.
That was bizarre.
This happens every few years, and I guess this is just our turn this time, but it's happening again. But I know my mom's like, we have to go. We do have to wrap this up. But it's like, so you have Perot, and then you got Nader, and then here we go again with Trump and Sanders, and I don't know what'll happen. But I guess what I like about it is at least it seems split on both sides this year. Maybe we could come out of this with 4 different political parties. I would love that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right?
Yeah.
3 would be better than 2. 4 would be even better.
Shake up the
system. Best of all would be none. I'd like to have no parties.
Well, you know what? I don't know if that... I don't know why that couldn't happen. Really, when you start taking the thing apart, I'm not sure I understand why it couldn't happen.
I mean, there's no reason, like, sort of constitutionally or legally why it couldn't happen.
Right.
There are certainly reasons in terms of entrenched power.
Well, and
why it's difficult for it to happen.
Would you just like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony?
Hey,
would you like to buy the world a Coke?
You know what? Coca-Cola company, call me up. Hit me on Instagram. Hit me on Snapchat at Ethan is not funny, and let me know when I can endorse your products for money. I would like money,
lots of money
in exchange. That's right.
Help the starving comedian.
I will make a funny commercial for Coca-Cola. Awesome. I will come up with something.
That'd be great. That's a great idea.
And
sample it, send it up.
Yeah. Well, no, they have to contact me. I'm not.
Oh, I see how you are. Okay.
Hit me on Snapchat. Come on, guys. Yeah. All right. Well, Pastor, where can people find you, man?
You can reach us at the Sanctuary Church, ftl.org. That's our website, and you can see us there. Also, in Snapchat, just Dwayne Black.
It's just Dwayne Black?
No.
I thought it was Dwayne L. Black.
It's actually not just, but just, wait.
What's your
Dwayne Black.
His Snapchat is Dwayne Black.
Yep.
Okay.
It is.
Hit up Dwayne Black.
Yep.
On Snapchat. He's going to be snapping it up. All right. Hit me on social media at Ethan is not funny. Also, check out my other podcast, Sex on Kava, at Sex on Kava on Instagram, or sexonkava.com if you want to listen, or iTunes if you want to listen. We do a lot of great stuff on there, including our great. We have a great impressionist on there who does Trump and Bernie and all that stuff. So, a lot of fun. All right, well, let's sign off. Mom, so great to have you on the podcast again.
Thank you so much. It was great. I really enjoyed it, you guys.
All right, we'll have you back next time you're in town.
Yeah, I'd love that.
And Dwayne, great as always.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, man.
Well, this is
peace and grace.
Yes, this is Ethan Moore on behalf of Dwayne Black and my mom saying, thanks for listening and God bless.